Good evening and a happy 2026 to everybody. Hello, Free Enterprise community. My name is Organ Mike, and I am here with Veritas Knight, and we are here to provide some commentary for this night's community race.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Oh, I'm here. I'm having a good time. I'm already having a good time. How about you?
I am having a lovely time. Welcome to 2026, Free Enterprise fans. We hope you've had a lovely New Year's celebration, but we have a January 2nd community race celebration that I think you are going to enjoy.
Yeah, I'm seeing 2 objectives that need to be done to complete all objectives to win the crystal. So, they seem to be pretty straightforward objectives, though.
We're not going to make it too tough on our runners tonight, Mike. The goals are going to be to get 12 key items, any 12 key items, and to defeat 20 bosses. That's any 20 of your standard bosses. So our runners will be looking for key item checks, which today are going to be located in the K main locations and the K summon locations, and they will be hunting down bosses wherever they can find them. Once they've accomplished both those tasks, they'll get their crystal, and if they have the levels, or they feel confident, they can head off to Zeromus. One thing to keep in mind is we are running on the brand new 5.0.3 alpha version of Free Enterprise, which means that the pass is a key item. So that is brand new to our randomizer, and you will see, we have actually grouped this using our new objective grouping, even though we're not taking a huge advantage of that tonight. This new version of Free Enterprise allows for a whole whack of variety in objectives and rewards. So we're keeping it simple for new runners and for people who are interested in learning a little bit more about Free Enterprise, but that doesn't mean the capacity isn't there. It's a really cool. Some of the changes in 5.0 are really cool, Mike.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, we've got Drinks Glue and Golden Shocker up here, and it looks like we've got Edward to start off, unless my eyes deceive me.
That's right. So we'll be starting with Edward, and it will be a little different in the way we get characters tonight. And by a little different, I actually mean a lot different. Edward is not going to start out with another friend, another hero. Edward is going to start out with a key item check. So one of the new flags available is C partner KI check. So that person who comes from the right in the Baron Castle origin screen is actually going to be a chest of some sort. Our characters tonight will not be found in their normal character locations. They will all be found in the Tower of Wishes at Mysidia, which is an excellent flag called See Wishes you can set if you don't want to do a character hunt. All characters available in the randomizer will be there waiting for you, so you can go customize your party, decide who you're taking with you. In this case, you won't be allowed to take any duplicates, and then you can zip yourself off to whatever areas you want to go.
Sounds like a good time. I've seen you said K-Main and Summon, so that does include the King and Queen that summon monsters, the fairies as well, the sylphs as well.
Yep, Sylph check. So the Bahamut and the Baron Basement.
The Baron Basement, yeah, okay. But not the various moon altars.
That's right. So the moon altars are not going to be there. The monster in a box checks are not going to be included. And folks, it looks like we are off to the races. So the good news about this is it is an Edward start, but you don't have to keep Edward. Looks like we've got a D-Mist at the beginning and an Adamant Rock to start. There you go.
So we're already 1/12 of the way to one of those objectives.
And I think that was a Twin Harp in that blue chest. So if that chest is blue, that means it is a key item. So already we're at two key items. We got to get 10 more and take down 20 bosses. So I'm assuming, since this wasn't a spoon to start, both runners are going to head straight to Mysidia.
I'm seeing Baron Key and not Twin Heart.
Oh, it comes up so fast, Mike.
Yeah, no worries. I just saw it light up. Should mention that it is Crispy Slick doing our tracking for us, and Beauty and Discovery is doing our restream.
I trust Crispy Slick's eyes way more than my own.
That's fair.
So, just like I said, they're headed right here. They're going to see who's available. Drinks Glue is taking that Cecil. There's a Foo. There's an Edge. Rosa.
Is everyone basically available?
So it is randomized characters. So theoretically, if we were to limit the amount of characters, or you didn't have all characters pop up in the preset randomizer, they wouldn't be here. But in this case, it looks like pretty much everyone's available. Looks like Golden Shocker forgot to leave the Edward behind.
And he's going to trade out the old man for the spoony bird.
Well, I mean, Tel has a lot of early game utility, especially if you're taking that Cecil and you know you're going to go up Mount Ordeals.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you are looking for a grind later on, Tela can really enable some grinds. So that's really interesting. It looks like Glue took the Fusoya, the Rydia, the Edge, the Cecil, and Rosa.
Yeah, and is gone to Eblon to loot. Now, are the monsters, the box monsters, in the usual spots, or have they been shuffled around?
It looks like they've been shuffled. So the default in Free Enterprise is randomized, and you have to turn on vanilla locations, I believe, and I don't see that flag. And also, we just saw one in a non-vanilla location.
Yeah, and Golden Shocker is in the Watery Pass. I guess gathering equipment is an important part of the important part of the start of these runs.
So if you want to gather equipment quickly, one of the best things you can do is you can grab that Tela, because he starts with exit. So using that early exit, that could very well be the strategy here for Golden Shocker. Take Tela, get a bunch of loot, and then replace Tela with someone maybe a little bit more useful.
And maybe the loot might dictate who that replacement could be.
Exactly. So we know that they will find the magma key somewhere on the overworld. That is, we have force magma on. That doesn't preclude that they might find a hook. They could find darkness up here. So there's all sorts of options for how this world's going to open up. We do know it's going to be the magma key. And we are going to see both runners check out that. Oh, well, maybe Drinks Glue is just going to raise the hovercraft. But Golden Shocker is checking out the basement. Found a light sword. So found a couple decent pieces of gear there. Drinks Glue getting that hovercraft lifted on up.
No, potential to go to Antlion. I mean, we do have to defeat 20 bosses, and Antlion is a boss.
I would think a lot of those early, once you decide who your party's going to be, a lot of those early game bosses, I think, are going to start getting taken off. So Mist Cave, yeah, Drinks Glue, I think, has settled on their party. Mist Cave, Waterfall, Mount Hobbs. You're going to want to take care of all of those as quickly as possible on this race to 20.
But especially with Cecil going to Ordeals, will give you 3. So,
yeah, if you are looking for, you've got the Cecil. If you are looking for Water Hag, okay,
not where you necessarily want to see that.
No, you're definitely hopeful to see that a little bit later on. This is going to be slow, but I think you're pretty okay with it. You got to get these fights out of the way. It is what it is.
Yeah, but where the Water Hag could be a free fight in a harder spot, and any boss could be a free fight in this spot, or most bosses could be a free fight in this spot. It kind of feels like a bit of a waste of 2 potential free fights to mash them into one.
Oh no, we'll have to watch our runners go through greater challenge. However, will we survive, Mike?
Well, I mean, it doesn't bother me, but it might bother them.
I want them bothered. I want them struggling, because that's what makes for good conversation. Golden Shocker has head on over to Troya and has found the rat tail hanging out with Bedward. So we do have alternative ways to do that free check if you want to make it a little more difficult. Demist hunt, and we know where the Demist is. But that option was not chosen, so it's just straight up, go visit Edward, get a freaky item.
Mm-hmm. Demist being at the Baron Castle does represent also 3 boss checks there, though the Baron basement check will be a little bit harder than Ordeals.
Yeah, if the Baron key gets used, I don't think, we might see a check, I don't think we'll see a successful, especially Water Hag being one of those bosses that maybe you can take at some point early on. Already off the table. So Stardust Rod for that Palom for Golden Shocker. Whew. Yeah, we have quite the differential in parties here. This is really interesting.
I always find it more interesting and more fun when the 2 runners that are featured are not are not taking the same routes or taking different groups with them. There's a lot more of compare and contrast then.
One of the things I really like about Sea Wishes is that it opens up the party to the runner's ultimate choice. If we're doing our standard character checks, you may not have huge party choice. You may end up kind of getting forced into taking a certain 4 or 5 characters by the seed. That's just not going to be true in Sea Wishes. You are going to get the party that you think is the most successful, and then you get to go race the seed and find out if you were right. There is something pure about that, you know. There's something a little bit more competitive, and I really like it. Anything that causes these runners to not just run over the same tracks and do the same things, I'm in favor of it. So I really like Sea Wishes. I don't know if it's going to be great for tournament play, but I think for community race play, I think it's a great flag.
Oh, for sure. And it sounds like a really good flag for beginners, or for someone like me who hasn't played a seed in years. You know, it's a really good way to say, well, okay, I don't have to go and look for my party. I can just go and pick the people I want and go from there.
Yeah, it changes the early game, especially in a lot of ways. But you know, if that you need that Cecil, you're going to know if he's in the seat or not, so you can make those plans. You don't have to carry the lightsaber if you know he's not in there, sort of deal. Mm-hmm. And again, for a beginner, I think that's really good. I think for high-level runners, it opens up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it's got a lot of presents a lot of options for everyone. And you know, if you're trying to expand your repertoire, if you're trying to move up and do better in your runs, you can then deliberately choose different characters. You roll up a seed and pick some characters you don't normally use, or pick some that might be more of a challenge for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of options there.
Not so on Ordeals one here.
As we're chatting away, we have Drinks Glue heading up Ordeals Mountain, engaging that Kanazo, while Golden Shocker is going to dip into the antlion nest. Now, again, this is interesting. Golden Shocker's taken that Tella, which gives him the exit. So this becomes a little bit more of an efficient check. Drinks Glue heading up Ordeals, going to lean on the power of the Edge, which has, I think, Twin Dancing Daggers, and the Fusoya to get them through these slightly more challenging boss checks. Although King Queen Eblan, again, that's for the overworld probably the best free place.
We have a vanilla antlion.
That's not the moon.
Yeah.
Although antlion does kind of look like a crater, but we know that it's not the antlion's true natural habitat.
It's a bit of an odd sprite, that one.
Stardust Rod and a swing, no problem for Golden Shocker.
There's something that's appearing. I haven't managed to catch it, but there's something that's appearing at the end of the experience award. And I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, I'm happy to explain. So we find an Earth Crystal there, first of all. Let's get that out of the way. But in Free Enterprise 5.0, we have introduced a bunch of ways to change the way you get experience. In this particular flag set, we only have the basic way, which is once you get 10 key items, your experience doubles, and you will then see, instead of a 1.0 modifier, you'd see a times 2.0 modifier. But we could do things where for every boss you defeat, you get a bonus. For every key item check you accomplish, you get a bonus. For every objective you complete, you get a bonus. And we've seen those pop up in various flag sets, both previously, of course, in our All For Cup, as well as some of the flag sets we've been experimenting with during the community races to change what the grinds are going to look like or rule out the requirement for them altogether. I think it's one of the more exciting changes as well. Like, changing the way that you get experience changes the fundamental of how Free Enterprise is played.
For sure, and it actually does tell you what your experience modifier is then? Is that what's skipping past that I can't pick up on yet? Okay.
So Golden Shocker is checking out that treasury. It's taking a little bit of time there as he's running to the inventory boss. Meanwhile, Drinks Glue has got the pan at the top of Mount Ordeals, turned his Cecil into a paladin, and Ruby or possibly Elements here? Looks like it's the Ruby. Yeah, it's not too bad. I think if you get your full party, there's going to be no challenges here. Yeah, so Golden Shocker found a Massa for that edge. Found a power shirt. Murasame, so that edge is going to be 100% go mode. Ready to rock. And no challenge, it will slow him down for quite a bit of time.
And Drinks Glue has not quite completed that Rubicon. Rubicon's throwing a lot of fire around. Not a lot of damaging fire, but just a lot of it.
Wow.
There we go.
Yeah, and that could be a few seconds that Golden Shocker picks up later on. Golden Shocker, remembering that he brought Tello along, is able to get out of the treasury without walking through Troy as well, and will now head to Mount Ordeals. And again, even though Drinks Glue didn't have too much difficulty coming up here, Golden Shocker is going to blitz through these bosses.
Oh, for sure.
So, Drinks Glue is temporarily ahead on the boss checks, but Golden Shocker has picked up the Antlion. Drinks Glue has done the Mist Cave and the 3 out here.
Shocker's also done the Mist Cave.
Oh, yeah, I missed that. See, Mike? You got good eyes.
That's why we got 2 of us here.
It's impossible to see everything. But yes, so slightly up on bosses. We'll see where Drinks Glue goes next now that he's got his Cecil on board. Still looking for the Magma Key. Baron Inn is still on the table. Fabul is still on the table with the pan in hand. I would think Drinks Glue is going to hope to find that Magma Key quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Golden Shocker using all of that great loot they got from the Troya treasury.
And Drinks Glue has some Medusa arrows for Cecil, but no bow. Had to take the bow off of to back row. Okay, do the back row glitch. Had to take the bow off of Rydia to get the back row glitch active.
You want to explain the back row glitch while we're here, Mike?
I will do my best. So there are 2 kinds of weapons: weapons that hit from, or weapons that do have back row capable, and weapons that do not have back row capable. Weapons that do not have back row capable are perfectly fine to use from the back row, but they do half damage? ? And we got a pig there because there's no companion.
That's right.
And a lunar sparkle. Melee weapons do half damage from the back row. Now, in the vanilla version of the game, when you equip a weapon with a back row capacity, it sets a flag on the character so that they deal full damage from the back row, and they failed to implement a way to remove that flag. So if you get a character capable of doing full damage from the back row, they remain capable for doing damage from the back row, full damage from the back row for the rest of the game.
So we see now Drinks Glue is taking on the Pale Dim. Swung and missed with the Cecil from the back row. Remember, he's a level 1 Cecil. And is able to clean it up. And, with the back row glitch, Mike, are you suggesting this game wasn't perfectly programmed? I thought they intended it to be that way.
There might be a few little bugs and glitches and things floating around here. Oh, we got Valvalis in the second Baron Inn spot.
Glue's going to immediately throw a spear. Val can be tough in these locations.
And this is Young spot, and so there's 4,000 hit points here?
Ish, yeah. I don't know the exact amount, but looks like throwing things will get through the Val. So we do not have unsafe on, which means this shouldn't be the Magma Key, if memory serves.
But still Sand Ruby, there's a key item, and it's still still another boss down.
We definitely need that Sand Ruby. It's still useful, even if there's only a pig waiting in the bed in Kaipo, because we got all of our characters early on.
Well, I guess the only way to get it out of your inventory would be to use it.
I think you still get credit for it if you use it, but I guess you gotta get the item. It's probably not worth picking up the pig. There's a faster way to get a heal, I'm sure. Golden Shocker is going to take on that Ruby. So we've seen 3 of the 4 fiends already. Drop him pretty quickly. So
we haven't seen either Mylon, but otherwise.
Well, I'm sure Mylon will show up at some point.
He tends to.
Or not. This isn't B Chaos, so we should only see the 2 Mylons, not more. So we're down to 2 possible locations, I think, for that key item check. Find the magma key, Fabul, or Baron Castle.
Or if a hook shows up, the rat tail.
Of course, assuming that there's not an additional gated check.
Yeah, it could still be the hook for the rat tail. Could still be Twin Harp. We also have an Earth Crystal, so it could be up in Tower Zod.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Tower Zod's also got 2 bosses, so that's a tempting check, I think. And the traditional way to do that is you want to do Earth Crystal, because that sets you right in front of Baron, so then that routes you into Baron. Golden Shocker, having raided that treasury's got an Avenger, got the Masamura Edge. I would feel like, yeah, I could probably head on up Zot and do some damage up there. Drinks.
We have a very important question from chat. I am Dimar asks, would using the Sand Ruby on a pig make it cured bacon?
I don't think I'm qualified to answer that question, Mike.
Well, we can't all be butchers, I suppose. I'm a vegetarian, so I wouldn't really know.
I don't think it's sand. I think it's salt. If it was a salt ruby, we might be in business tomorrow. So Drinks Glue is over at Eblin taking on the monster chests. Going to pick up a bunch of experience for that Cecil and get them online. Golden Shocker heading to Fabul is going to check that out. Again, that's an interesting divergence. Drinks Glue has avoided the Fabul check. Got an Excal for that Cecil. That's nice. You really want to have a nice big holy sword if you have a Cecil on your team.
Oh, sure.
But Golden Shocker deciding, no, I am going to do Fabul. I'm not gonna mess around and try to do the double, triple dip, but I'm not going to do the single dip. I'm just going to go and take on the bosses there, it looks like.
Yep. With the hand in hand, it's entirely possible to get 3 key items, or 3 at least key item checks all at once in one trip to Fabul. So I can understand why someone might put that off. But,
on top of the 4th one you get for checking my notes, striking a man in a coma with a heavy kitchen instrument.
That sounds about right. I mean, 80s or 90s RPGs. I mean, what are you going to do?
It looks like it's just some Dark Imps showing up at Fabul. An army of Dark Imps between the Fu and the Cecil. This isn't going to be a problem. Both Fu Soyas have Quake. So, Mike, do you remember how Fu gains his power in the standard setup for Free Enterprise?
I do. So Fusoya starts with a small selections of spells and 500 hit points, and every time a boss is defeated, Fusoya gets 3 more spells, I believe randomly selected, but in a specific order. There's a pink tail from Fabul, and gains 100 hit points to his maximum hit points. So every boss that Golden Shocker kills, Drinks Glue. Every boss that Drinks Glue kills, Fusoya will get 3 more spells.
I think they both have the Fu, so I think you're good on both fronts.
Okay,
there.
yeah. Okay, I knew Golden Shocker took Tella, so both. Yeah, he's got both old men.
The average age of Golden Shocker's party is higher than the average age of Drinks Glue, because Drinks Glue still has the youngest Rydia, but maybe if they do Dwarf Castle, Drinks Glue's party will get a little bit older. We'll see. Mm-hmm. Golden Shocker's going to check out Mount Hobbs.
And
looks like got the pink tail at Fabul there.
At Fabul,
so
yeah.
Probably not what he was hoping for, but let's get this easy boss up here out of the way. No character, but it is an octopus on a mountain.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Octopus, a little bit out of its usual habitat, but
yeah. Seeing the tentacles poke up out of the stone is a little bit more Lovecraftian than I like to see in my day-to-day life. But, a little earthquake took care of it.
Got some strange eons going on there.
There we are. Red Feptover has asked, off-color damage, ? Great question. As part of the quality of life improvements for Free Enterprise, one of the things that our programmers have been trying to do is remove the amount of flashes on the screen. And in 5.0, we've removed the flash to indicate a critical. So now if a physical attack indicates a critical hit, you'll see a yellow number pop up rather than your standard white. So that's how you know the character's hit a critical.
Oh, that's nice. I have a color filter over my screen, so I'm not going to be able to tell, but whatever.
Hey, you know, I think that it's just one of those nice little accessibility features for people who have trouble with challenges. I don't have trouble with flashes, but I don't like them, so...
Yeah, I can get that way if I'm otherwise ill or tired, but generally speaking, they don't bother me. But I can certainly see why it would bother some.
Yeah, generally, right? And there are people out there who are very, very negatively impacted by flashes, and honestly, it just adds to the eye strain.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not young anymore. I need my eyes to be as unstrained as possible when I'm playing video games.
A sentiment I know far too well. So we're using Quake on Valvelus, which for some reason works. And Drinks Glue just took out the Vanilla Antlion and got the Earth Crystal.
So they're running over each other's footsteps a little bit, which is unavoidable once you get to the sort of the end of the top world. But both runners so far have avoided hitting up the Tower of Zot or Barren Castle. We are pretty sure at this point that one of those two checks will have the route to the underground access, which could be the hook, but must be the magma key.
So here's a question. Barren Basement, is that a viable location for the magma key?
I'm about 90% sure the answer is no.
Fair.
Do know it can't be routed behind the Golbez, the Val, or the Wyvern. Even though we have Witchburn on, so the Wyvern probably isn't as dangerous as normal.
I've seen a Wyvern show up and then run away, so that can be hilarious.
Yeah, I think we had a Wyvern on stream a couple times ago that did the shake that Zeromus does before you hit him with the crystal. But the Wyvern obviously doesn't shake, so just... It was a pretty ineffective attack, let's put it that way.
Well, yeah. Wouldn't that have taken off any fast or berserks, at least?
Yeah, I'm sure it would have. I don't seem to recall the runners having too much of a problem with it.
Well, especially because it would come up first. So, okay, we'll just if someone's been berserked by magic, we'll just put it back up. It's fine.
So Drinks Glue is going to be the first heading up the Tower of Zot here. Golden Shocker has checked Fabul, which Drinks Glue has not. But the only difference there is a pink tail. So that's a pretty smart fade for Drinks Glue right now.
And Golden Shocker's headed into the Barren Basements here, or Barren Castle, into the waterway. So here we have an actual divergence, which could put one of the runners significantly ahead of the other.
Yeah, if the end spot for either of these locations is the Barren Key, one runner has made a very correct choice and one has made almost certainly the wrong choice. Now I say almost certainly because if you find the magma key but the other location has, say, the darkness crystal or the pass, that could be a place that you then fade and that you might end up regretting. So there's options here, but someone is on the route to the Barren Key, the magma key right now. So many keys in this game. Someone is going up the slightly wrong tree.
Yep. I mean, alternatively, the hook could be at the other. Oh, we've got Vanilla Magus Sisters again too. The hook could be in the other side, which could lead one runner to just say the heck with it and go that way.
Second scoop of vanilla for the seed. The demist will not likely be much of an issue. It looks like Golden Shocker is going to throw the Ninja Star to stack up a bunch of damage and take care of it pretty quickly. Meanwhile, over on Drinks Glue's side, they're getting their first attacks off, but the damage is not going to be that high.
No, doesn't seem particularly dangerous. There goes Sandy in the back. Yeah.
Yeah, the Cecil with the Excalibur / Avenger does some work. Was that a crystal, maybe? Oh, geez. Anyway, it's doing some work.
Got a crystal sword. Yeah.
Wow.
And we have Bahamut on the throne. Nope. Is that Bahamut? Is that Bahamut?
Yes,
that's Bahamut. Yep.
The King of Baron is the King of Dragons today.
And he just stands there and counts down.
One of the best things for being on a boss hunt means, with a Fusori in your party, means that you are getting lots and lots of spells for him quickly, and one nuke takes out Bahamut. No problem.
We have a blue robe at the top of the Tower of Zod.
Which we know means that the alt gauntlet is going to be at Dwarf Castle. And Dwarf Castle is one you're normally going to be a little tempted because it's 2 bosses. Maybe you're disincentivized now.
It's 2 bosses and Iridia aging up, which means she should pick up, a handful of new summons, right?
Handful of new summons. I think it changes a couple other pieces about her. And then you get a key item check, of course.
Yes, absolutely. If the warp glitch is on, you can get 2 key item checks. And there we got Bagan at the top of the tower.
And I can confirm the warp glitch is on.
So,
right.
But that said, keeping away from that alt gauntlet is sometimes a goal in and of itself.
So Golden Shocker finds a defense sword in the Baron basement trash can. Not what he was looking for. Decides, okay, I'm going to go check Eblin Castle. Likely looking for levels. I hope he's looking for levels because monster boxes are not turned on in today's flag set. Key items in monster boxes, I should say.
And Drinks Glue should be finding something that will, if not actually be the magma key, lead towards it.
Yeah, Drinks Glue is definitely on the right path here. There it is.
There it is.
So we'll see if Drinks Glue decides to also do the Baron checks. The bosses there are nice. But nope, Drinks Glue says, I'm jumping in the Enterprise. I am going to head down to Agart, and I am throwing that key down the well.
We'll just cause a massive earthquake, disrupt the lives of all the people around, attempt to throw a summon down the well first, and then...
Yeah, down it goes. Destruction inbound. Drinks Glue will be the first to get underground.
I hadn't seen that earlier because I know Drinks Glue was in there, but there's a ribbon in that monster in a box chest.
Yeah, there's some decent rewards in Eblin this time out. So even though you're not getting key item checks, I do think there is a lot of value here, and Drinks Glue has clearly been able to get that power deployed and is using it to their advantage. Golden Shocker shouldn't be too far behind. Golden Shocker shouldn't be too long getting out of Eblin.
With the amount of stuff he's throwing around there.
We'll still need to run up the Tower of Zot. So Drinks Glue's pretty ahead right now, I think. It looks like he's going to go scramble an egg.
They do have a siren. There it is. And here comes an egg. Gonna keep that Iridia on the ground for now.
Yeah, I would imagine that's likely to be the agility anchor once you get to Zeromus. I think you've got more than enough power in this party to handle Zeromus without leveling up your Iridia, slinging her. So, and Golden Shocker seems to be doing the same thing with Tella. Tella's staying unconscious. Almost certainly is going to, having provided some early game exits, fulfilled his purpose other than to lie unconscious, which, hey, you need an anchor.
Now, as someone who played the vanilla game a fair bit and, did beat it, to me, leaving one of your 5 characters unconscious and unleveled seems like an appalling prospect. To short yourself that sort of power and force of arms. What are they doing there, Veritas?
Yeah, I love being the one who has to explain agility anchoring. So in the vanilla Final Fantasy IV game that Mike enjoyed and I enjoyed as a child, and presumably many others, agility was calculated as a number based on Cecil's agility. So there's some math that goes on. We don't do math on stream, but what you need to know is that the numbers get divided by a multiple of Cecil's agility, I believe it is, and that determines where characters end up, how many times your characters go versus the monsters go. In Free Enterprise, we give you the ability to manipulate this by making it so that your agility anchor, the person for whom agility is relative agility is determined in every fight, is in that middle slot. Now, there's ways around this. We could turn on vanilla agility. We could have a hero seed. But in general, when that's not on, you want your agility pretty high on the overworld, so you're going fast, and you want it low when you're facing those big stonky bosses, because you want all the time you need to do as much damage as possible. There's a great video by Tall Grant, one of the community sages, on YouTube. If you have more questions, go watch it. He explains it way better than I ever could.
We've traded a smack with the pan for and the poor sylphs have a monster in a box in their room. Oh no.
Monster in a box being in a random location. This was a gamble. I hope that the Quake is going to get off, which is very good for Drinks Glue, because I don't know when the last time he saved was. That is scary.
Yeah, he managed to take out the two mobiles too. Monster in a box with 1 hit point on all the characters. But yeah, they had the spoon, and now I imagine Drinks Glue, maybe not immediately, but we'll have those 3 key item checks up at Fabul to go and take care of it. Perhaps immediately. All right.
It's like quasi-vanilla, because in the vanilla game, you get the spoon for returning the pan after hitting Yong. I think in this case, Drinks Glue is simply taking out the middle Sheila.
Mm-hmm. But Sheila still has there's still the actual giving you the pan portion of the key item chain there.
That's right. So Drinks Glue is going to spend a little bit of time with Fabul, do some shopping like Golden Shocker did earlier. Meanwhile, Golden Shocker is starting up the Tower of Zot.
The Drinks Glue selling a bunch of stuff. And we'll get a free heal from this, so there's also that advantage too. Having 4 characters at 1 hit point and 1, on the ground, they will now be relieved of that particular condition.
Yeah, using that Sylph Cave to really put yourself in an advantageous position for what comes next, I think, is something that a lot of runners do that worse runners, less experienced runners like myself, both worse and less experienced in my case, don't think about. But really common, if you need, for example, you have that Twin Harp and you feel like you have to do it, doing it after you've done your Sylph check means you're going to be set up so that you get through the fight preliminary rapidly. So there are ways where you can use even apparently disadvantageous pieces to your advantage. Similarly, if you've saved the Fabul, if you've been able to do this, the legendary single dip of Fabul, not only are you walking out with that efficient time check, you're walking out at full hit points, like you said. So it's one of those things that those really experienced runners can do a lot of thinking about and use in their advantage. Drinks Glue will pick up the pink tail as Golden Shocker gets to the Magus Sisters, but we're going to go see what Sheila has next, I think.
Mm-hmm. We got 9 key items on the left and 7 on the right, and I have no idea how many bosses they've been dealing with.
I stopped counting.
It's a Dragoon Spear and the Luca Key.
Okay. So the Luca Key is something that you probably don't want to do, but because you can get through that by doing the Dwarf Castle and then using the Warp Glitch, but we know that there's a gauntlet in the Dwarf Castle. Mm-hmm. So maybe you want to go a different way. We'll see what Drinks Glue does.
It's a question of whether or not you want to take the long walk down or whether or not you want to deal with the alt gauntlet.
Drinks Glue hasn't done the Baron Castle check, and looks like is going to go check out. I mean, we know that it's a defense sword, but at this point it's 2 bosses. You might as well check it off. And if you're thinking, again, your other efficient boss check at this point is the alt gauntlet. this probably feels a little bit more efficient. We know it's not going to pay off from a key item perspective, but it is going to be 2 bosses in Drinks Glue's pocket.
Yeah, I don't know what the count is for either runner on the number of bosses they've taken on, but I don't think either of them have gone to the Octomam spot, the Watery Pass.
No, I don't think we've seen the Watery Pass checked. I think that's the only... that and the Barren Basement are the only available bosses we haven't seen on the Overworld. Underworld, of course, there's the Dwarf Castle bosses, there's the Top of Tower, there's the King Queen of the Fey March. Yeah, and then obviously Drinks Glue.
And Luca Cave,
now. Yeah, it could go through the Sealed Cave. Why not?
And Golden Shark are going to take on Bagan in Valvalis' spot.
Yeah, this shouldn't take too long. Not with a very powered up Fusoya. Not a lot of bosses anywhere on the moon, or even Dwarf Castle are going to slow this party down where they are. The Fey March may give the runners some pause.
Yeah, depending on what's there.
Well, we know that Water Hag and King Queen Evelyn have been taken off the board. So there's still some real nasty possibilities down there.
Trying to think of who else would qualify as even somewhat free. Plague, possibly?
Yeah, if you could stack up Berserks against the Plague and get through pretty easily.
Drinks Glue is going to head to the Underground. Going to go to the Barren Basement.
Drinks Glue is going to check, and I don't think Drinks Glue did not do the Bahamut sitting on the throne.
Hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, so must be pretty confident they can get through this, or is just feeling if they're not going to be able to take it, maybe they reset out. This is an interesting check. I like it, though. Real bold. There's a Mylon.
And we have Mylon and friends.
I told you we were going to face a Mylon on the Overworld. I knew it was coming.
Does this really count as on the Overworld, though?
Well, it's under the top of the Overworld, but it's well above the Underground. I mean, I don't think the Barren Basement goes that deep.
No, but if this is the Alt Gauntlet, doesn't it pull from the Cave of Summon Monsters for this one?
That's true. Yeah, you get the summoners here, I think, right?
I think so, but goodness, don't quote me.
I've run into an Alt Gauntlet here before. I remember being sad more than I remember what the monsters were. Rowdy Sniper in the chat says, "You do, yes," and I can only assume he's talking about me being sad, but also about the monsters in the Alt Gauntlet.
Golden Shocker headed to the Dwarf Castle.
Yes, this is another little bit of interesting divergence. Drinks Glue has pretty intentionally faded this so far. Again, both runners know there's a gauntlet in here. That's not bad experience. We see a sparkle available, and it's 2 key item checks when you get through because the pass.
Ooh.
So Drinks Glue has opened up the way to Zeromus, or one of the ways to Zeromus in 5.0. This counts as a key item check as well, which is a key item for the 12 key item bonus. So I think that is very notable.
And we got Ogopogo as our first from the wilds of British Columbia.
That's right.
To the underground of the Dwarf Castle Underground. And we're not just going to knock Tella down, we're going to overkill Tella.
Tella, you're out. You got to sit down, buddy. Take a seat. Drinks Glue will very quickly take out that Bahamut, I think. Meanwhile, Golden Shocker continues to work on the resident of, I think it's Lake Okeechobee, is that right?
Yep.
No problem.
Okanagan, yep.
Yeah, I don't think you should be deploying nukes in the British Columbia interior, but if that's what you got to do, I guess it's what you got to do.
One did end up there once, and an American bomber flew over on its way to Alaska and dropped its payload. Fortunately, the thing didn't go off, but
Good things. There's safeties in those, and a famous broken arrow incident. There are more of those than people want to contemplate. Let's just put it that way.
Uh-huh. And Golden Shocker taking on the Alt Gauntlet. I guess the advantage of this, too, would be it is 5 fights worth of experience, too.
Yeah, it's not bad experience. It's not great experience, especially since you don't have 10 key items to get the double experience bonus that Free Enterprise affords at 10 key items. So I feel like you're doing this, maybe you feel a little behind, maybe you feel like the other runner would be a little bit disincentivized from seeing this earlier. Be really curious to see what Golden Shocker says if we are lucky enough to talk to him later on.
Yeah. And also, I mean, if this is 2 key items, that does put him at 10. I mean, obviously, you don't retroactively get the experience bonus. Drinks Clue looks like they're headed for the same place.
Yeah, I think Drinks Clue just needs 1 key item at this point, and then it's how do I grind? How do I get to the moon? Or how do I grind? I don't have to worry about how I get there to Zeromus. So this particular flag set is interesting. I'm curious how the grind is going to go because we have S Shuffle on, which, according to my notes, only items available in the vanilla game that are in shops are available. It's shuffled randomly but weighted so that late game items will be more likely to show up in late game shops. We haven't seen too much shop hunting, so is there going to be a siren checkout here? Are runners thinking, I'm going to try to get the Darkness Crystal and zip up to the Giant and do one of the Giant grinds? I'm really curious what they're thinking about. How do I get strong enough to take on Zeromus? But it's going to be interesting. All right.
Drinks Clue also going after Ogopogo. Unfortunately, you know, the bias towards the far west of the country continues, and we don't have any representation for the resident of Lake Manitoba, the Manipogo. But, you know, it is what it is.
Lake Manitoba is very shallow. You know, it's probably not as dangerous.
I have no idea how Lake Okeechobee is. How big or how deep Lake Okeechobee is.
It's got to be a rift lake up in the mountains. It's probably pretty deep.
Yeah. We don't do math on stream, but we do geology. So there you are. Lake Manitoba's pretty big. Lake Winnipeg is huge. So.
Yeah, Lake Winnipeg is quite large. Quite large. Of course, I'm in Ontario, so if I want to go see a Great Lake, I just go see a Great Lake.
You've got the actual Great Lakes there. Oh, there's the tower key in the sealed cave.
So the warp glitch, the way that works is in order to save programming space, time, presumably money, the incredible programming team used the same in-game asset for the crystal room in both the sealed cave and dwarf castle. Because they have the same internal references, you can use the warp spell, which takes you back to the previous room, to go to the end of the cave, the sealed cave, get the item there, and then walk out. So you get 2 items for 1. Perfectly programmed game, exactly how they intended you to get that item.
Very clear. Yeah. So the hook and the tower key will give Golden Shocker 10 key items, and will give Drinks Glue more than 12 to accomplish the first of our 2 important tasks here. Golden Shocker checking the tower will get 2 checks, or 2 bosses, and 2 key item checks.
Yeah, it'll be really curious to see who finds the Darkness Crystal first, because I would think that's probably going to be pretty key to the grind possibility here.
Mm-hmm. Without the Darkness Crystal, what's the best available grind? I guess it'd be Sirens into Eggs, or...
Yeah, so I'm not an expert on how S Shuffle is going to work. So the best grinds are, if you find Sirens, you can do Eggs. If you find Sirens and Hourglass 2s, you can do Dragons on the Moon, Gold Dragons on the Moon. Mm-hmm. If you find neither, but you have say, someone who can cast weak, you can go do D machines at the giant, where you kill multiple D machines from a summon and just stack up a bunch of experience for a single fight.
Yep. So both the gold dragons on in Lunar Subterrane and D machines and the giant require the darkness crystal. What's our best option without the darkness crystal?
Yeah, I guess you're hoping to find sirens. It's tough on the blue planet to get the levels that you need, especially with our traditional free enterprise experience points here. If we had some of the more recent sets we've seen, where you're getting 10% additional experience for every boss or 10% additional experience for every key item check, some of those late game or mid game checks will give a lot of experience. But right now, I think you've got to figure a grind out. Yeah, Mitzi says, go to Lower Babel, steal sirens, get eggs, win. Which, that sounds to me like it would be really boring to watch. So I'm kind of...
Golden Shocker just took out the Dark Elf in the Super Cannon. He did indeed change, and now has changed again into a pile of dust and ash.
My brain heard Dark Imps, and I was going to say, we already saw the Dark Imps. We don't have Beat Chaos on. No, a different Dark Word boss. Okay, I'm on board. We're good.
And we're going to see who's hanging out at Dr. Lugai's spot at the top of the tower.
Drinks Glue is going to go ahead and check out
We've
the
got
Fame
a
March.
karate up there. Yeah.
Ooh, this shouldn't be too tough. This is actually free. We have a Cecil. So,
yep.
No matter what, after the second kick, when the first Cecil strike hits the karate, it will be a ouch, and he will regain his sanity, etc. I don't think you're too worried. Yeah, and you'll see Golden Shocker is just waiting for that second kick, and then it's going to just trigger the automatic end.
As long as that second kick has been queued up.
Second strike, apparently.
And we'll see what Young was holding on to. A crystal sword. I don't think Golden Shocker has one of those yet. Drinks Glue does, but...
Look, it's not a bad thing, but it's definitely not what you want to see if you're Golden Shocker.
No, it's probably hoping for the pass, Darkness Crystal. Certainly needs key items of some variety.
Did Drinks Glue not do the warp glitch?
Drinks Glue did indeed do the warp glitch. And got the tower key.
Yeah. Where was the hook again?
Around Luca's neck.
Okay. Making sure, because it's not lit up.
Yep.
I think we're okay. I got them backwards in my brain. Because, there's so much going on. Golden Shocker's heading down the Tower of Zot, and we'll see... Tower of Babel. Again, so many towers in this game.
Yeah.
We'll find out what is hiding as a key item when is rescued by the Enterprise. Drinks Glue is going to go check out that basement in the Fame Arch.
And what do we got here? We've got Calbrina in the Queen spot and some variety of guard in the King spot. Officer and soldiers.
That's a really good fight.
Drinks Glue's a lot of experience too.
Yeah, Drinks Glue's going to go throw that hourglass. I would not be surprised if we see some attempts to life glitch here.
Want me to tackle? There's the Twin Harp.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah. Want me to tackle the life glitch?
Please.
All right. So when you use the spell Life 1 or a Life Potion, there it is right now. A life glitch on the general or whatever it is in the back. 2 life on the general. Nice. When you use a life potion or a life 1 spell, it revives the target with hit points equal to 5 times its vitality score. All monsters have a vitality score of 0, meaning they revive instantly with 0 hit points. Something at 0 hit points is dead, and therefore it revives instantly, dead, and you get credit for another kill.
Exactly right. And in this particular experience point setup, the general will have the most, by far the most experience. So yeah, you're going to see 106,000.
Yeah.
So not only do you get the extra experience because you have 10 key items, you're getting double experience. So Pretty nice setup for some experience there for Drinks Glue. I would think
Yeah.
that we're going to see them go straight to the dolls after this.
And a lovely golden apple. I wonder if it says "to the fairest" on the side.
Took me a second, but that's pretty good.
And yeah, we've got both runners now having 12 key items because Golden Shocker has picked up the spoon and is now headed into the Fey March.
Yes, I would think that we are going to see both Golden Shocker handle that pretty quickly. I would think that this is going to go, yeah, it's going to be pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it should be pretty quick. I don't think those Cals are going to have time to form into Calbrina.
They shouldn't. They should be pretty low on hit points because Foo's Quake did take one of them out, and that should be that right there.
There we go, yeah. And the free one was just a Dragoon gear.
And a white shirt.
So no key items there. We still don't know where the package or the Darkness Crystal are, or the Legend Sword. Neither of our runners need any key items for any particular purpose, but, you know, it'd be nice to know where some of those things are sometimes.
Yeah, so Twin Harp has an item behind it. The Rat Tail will have an item behind it. And, geez, I'm certain there's an item on the moon at the Cave Bahamut spot. And I'm struggling to figure out where the other key item checks are.
I'm not sure that there are any, because the lunar altars are not an option.
That's correct.
Nothing in Monster in a Boxes, so we've got, I think, all the overworld's basically been done at this point. Except Twin Harp. We know what's at the tower. Drinks Glue does not, which is why Drinks Glue is doing the tower. Golden Shocker going to throw a big bomb out.
Big bomb.
To deal with that Calbrina.
Yeah, big bomb and the Quake should get through that pretty quickly. No one has turned in the Rat Tail yet, Nitsi. They are currently both sitting on the Rat Tail check.
Rat and Pink. Bit of a miss. No. Okay, no, it's not a mistiming. It's just Berserk Cecil. Okay.
Berserk
Listen,
Cecil will strike the karate on his own time.
Yeah. And we don't even need to wait for that ouch. Just going to take him out. And Golden Shocker heading after that officer and soldiers team.
Yeah, we'll see if Golden Shocker thinks to throw the hourglass. Is going to use a coffin to take care of the officer. Mm-hmm. So, even though we have these as bosses in Free Enterprise, these ones don't have the boss bit set, which means that they can be stopped, slowed, and slain by instant death effects, including a coffin item or stone spell. So they can be handled pretty quickly.
And also, if boss bit things with the boss bit can't be life glitched too, correct?
Yes, that's also true. I think.
That golden apple. See if Paris likes it, and Golden Shocker is now done the Fey March. And Drinks Glue is taking on the Dark Elf Super Cannon.
Yeah, really disappointing. Really disappointing Fey March basement there, I think. Our runners would have liked... They really want to find that Darkness Crystal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Golden Shocker still looking for a way to Zeromus, although I suspect he will find it here, headed into Baron.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take on Mylon Z and Mylon and friends, not Mylon Z. And it is Mylon Z. You have an all-Canadian commentary stream tonight, so that's just how it is.
Absolutely.
We know that's the pass waiting in the Baron basement. We know that it's the Twin Harp hanging out at the Tower of Babel. Falls through. I don't know what to call that check. Falls through the bridge check.
It's the engineer check, right? Because then you have to take the
check.
Yeah, it's the super cannon check. It's engineer check because that's where you take the airship back to the engineers and they give you the hook.
I'm just glad we don't have to sit through that cutscene. I don't know why we have to sit through it to raise the whale, but we do. These are the decisions that the programmers have made, and we must but live with them.
I'm sort of waiting for a free enterprise flag where anytime a character would leave the party for any reason, you have to remove a character from the party.
I mean...
So here you would lose a Sid, which means that you then have to... No, you don't lose Sid here. The other one, you lose a Sid. The Dwarf Castle, you lose a Sid. So you would have to give up a character.
I think that is cursed, and I would love to see some excellent runners take that one on.
Well, we're going to see what's behind the rat tail anyway.
Let's see here.
There's the legend.
They can get a Supersmith item, but there's no guarantee it'll be useful with the party they've selected.
And the pink suggests we got a moon veil. That could be useful.
So can't argue with a moon veil. It's a high tier item. You had to come here anyway. Okay, you've got it. You're not going to get a key item check there, I don't believe. So
Mylon and friends have been defeated for Golden Shocker.
Still looking for 20 bosses as well for Drinks Clue. So
I missed the number there. I'm sure it says it on the tracker, but
it's got to be close because Golden Shocker just got his 20th and got his crystal.
There we are. Now, what has Golden Shocker done that Drinks Glue has not? Can't think of anything.
I don't even know. Again, this one's tough to track, so. Well, it looks like we are going to get to see what's in the Cave Magnus, and we are going to get to hear what Edward plays when we see what's in the bottom of Cave Magnus.
Yeah, rather than just playing its usual tune, we've randomized that. There's like over 500 tunes it could be picking from. I have still yet to contribute some music to that, but I'm sure I will at some point.
Yeah, we want to take a moment just to thank everyone who's submitted tunes or spent time arranging them. I know a lot of them were done by Xenocat.
Yep.
And a lot of them are Xenogears ones, which I don't think is a coincidence. But it's just so much fun. Whether or not I understand it or don't, what a wonderful feature, and what a wonderful way to salute some of those other games that we don't get to see in the randomizer.
Yeah, and a nice way to have community involvement too. This is a fantastic community to be a part of. We do have I know it's popped up there in the chat at one point, but we do have a Discord. They even let people like me hang around. If you want to help the community out, feel free to join up. Even just to be there. It is a good and friendly community, and a good place to be. So, and it looks like Golden Shocker is headed straight for Zeromus.
Wow, what a play. We're gonna see what comes of this in a second. Yeah, normally we would commentate on both. I don't know what we want to do here. Oof.
I think tradition suggests that we have to get out of the way of the music. But I'm going to have my finger on my push-to-talk button in case something really weird happens.
That's right. So we apologize. We have to interrupt, folks. We're going to try to let you listen to some music. We're going to find out who the real Zeromus is, whose butt we're going to kick tonight, etc. We're going to squeeze that in right quick. But we're going to be quiet now. All right, we're back. While that was going on, Zeromus has been revealed to be, I believe that is from Kingdom Hearts, based on the
I
heart.
have no idea, but yeah. There's definitely a missing chunk out of its abdomen there. Oh, and he was nice enough to nuke Edge, who already has a Star Veil up.
So it is the Darkness Crystal.
Darkness Crystal, yep.
Yeah, there we go. But Golden Shocker has said, you know what? I don't need no stinking grind. I wonder if we are going to see a... Is this Spoon Friends? No, I think we're just going for it.
Yep,
So
heading in. Yep.
this is doable if you're really good at nerfing those big bangs. So what happens when Zeromus... When you fight Zeromus, his primary offense is Big Bang, which is a big spell that only Zeromus can throw at you, that is going to do a bunch of damage, but if you're able to hit Zeromus with a direct attack at the right moment, he counter nukes and lowers his magic skill, so he doesn't just wipe that character off the face of the planet in order to give the player a chance to survive the final encounter. If you can time those attacks right, you take less damage, like you just saw, around 800 to 900, rather than 17 to 1800. And then that way, with a low-level party, you can get through. Drinks Glue has got the Darkness Crystal, but says, you know what? I'm also going to head down with the pass. So
I gotta respect the guts these two runners have.
this is a difficult Zeromus fight. I'm very curious to see what comes next. Like, can Golden Shocker get through it?
Oh, so far so good.
Looks like we're doing hybrid strats. So Cecil is using the Avenger, which means we'll be just on full attack mode. And on the other end, we are bouncing spells off of someone with a Moon Veil, in this case the Edge, who is throwing items. Bouncing nukes and viruses off to try to stack up enough damage to get to Zeromus. You don't have any control over who does the hit, so if at a certain amount of hit points, Zeromus refills. If it's a direct hit, if it's not, Zeromus, so it's a reflected spell, Zeromus will not tip over and you'll get through him a little bit quicker. So it's a little bit of a gamble right now. This is a really interesting fight. This is what really good runners do.
Yep, so Zeromus's hit point refill is a reaction ability. Reaction abilities are not triggered by other reaction abilities. And a reflected spell is considered a reaction.
This advice does not count for the Pixel Remaster, as I found out when I got to Zeromus in the Pixel
Surprise!
Remaster, and he thumped me.
He has a habit of doing that regardless.
Because of the changes to agility, that fight is brutal.
Ooh, I haven't... I'm still on FF1 for the Pixel Remasters, and I don't have a lot of time to just play games, unfortunately, so... because I spend time commentating other people's games. So I'm not there yet. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to skip Final Fantasy III. I played that through completely legally on a completely legal emulator with a completely legal ROM, and it is terrible. The ending of that game is ridiculous. So I may just skip over that, but we'll see. Here comes... Oh. I think that was good counting on Golden Shocker's part. I was going to say counter nuke coming, but he didn't reflect that one. So, but some good numbers counting there, and Golden Shocker has defeated Zeromus.
Wow, what a bold play from both runners, running into that Zeromus without the levels that people are expecting, knowing exactly where the right power was, nerfing at exactly the right times.
Yeah,
That's
really a bit
impressive.
of a masterclass. Yeah,
Really impressive fight.
Very well done, and especially helped out by their low agility anchors and all that other hocus pocus that I know nothing about.
Folks, I just heard a ding on my ear, which means we've been joined by Golden Shocker. Golden Shocker GG's, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
How are you feeling at the end when you finally got your crystal? How were you feeling about your chances with the Zeromus fight?
I had mixed feelings about it, but I felt like I kind of had to go for it and see how close I could get to Foo and Friends and still make it work. I don't think I did particularly well, but I mean, it worked, so can't complain.
Yeah, you were able to get through it. So, any port in a storm and any defeated Zeromus in a Final Fantasy IV randomizer seed.
A friend of mine, a tech friend of mine, likes to say, if it's stupid and it works, it's only one of those things.
It might be more the first than the second, but fair enough.
If it's stupid and it works, then it's not stupid. And you got through it. It was a bit of a masterclass. Quite enjoyed it.
I do okay sometimes, but it was right on razor's edge in terms of like how close that was to falling apart.
Yeah, we were watching it, and we were very impressed at how you were able to keep it together. But there's definitely some comments in chat about how it seemed like you were starting to run out a little bit of gas, but it looks like you had just enough to get to your destination. So early on with Sea Wishes, you get to choose your party. What was your thought process around selecting the party you chose?
So I assumed most likely I'd find a crystal sword, so like Cecil was automatic. And obviously, like I chased Evelyn pretty hard to make that work. Edge, obviously, yeah. I was thinking the whole time that I was probably going to do dart strats, some one way or another, so I went with that. And then I needed somebody to cast exit, so Tella. I walked out, forgot about it, and I was like, you know what, I need exit somehow, or else I'm walking out of everything, which doesn't make sense. And then Foo made sense, obviously, and then Palom. So I was trying to have a good mix of everything, but also make sure that I didn't like lose too much speed in terms of like individual checks or anything like that. So
without giving you too much spoilers, Drinks Glue picked up the Edge of the Cecil and the Foo, but took different characters elsewise. So there is some divergence there, and I do think that the Tella, Drinks Glue just finished up at 108.11, so 2.5 minutes between you. I do think that Tella and using the exit, I think it made a difference.
I mean, it's probably the first time I beat Glue in a race, so I can live with that.
Hey, there you go. Looks like that is the last of our runners to finish up. So Rob Sat Plays has taken first place of our community race tonight. But I do want to ask you a couple more questions about this seed. What was the thought process early on when you had the option to go to either Tower of Zot or to Baron Castle? Both runners were doing this at the same time, and Mike and I noted one of those is going to be the correct play. Why did you choose the one you did?
I don't know if there's a specific rhyme or reason, and maybe that explains why I came in fourth or whatever it was. But honestly, I was just trying to get through as many checks as I could. So in the back of my mind, it was more about just trying to get checks done as quickly as possible in boss fights. So I was just trying to knock off boss fights. I didn't really think too much about optimization or anything like that. It was more, do I think this is faster or not? I don't know if that's really a good answer. It's probably a bad answer, but I was okay with how I ended up doing it for what it's worth. So,
hey, I'm not looking for quality of answer here. I'm looking for the truth. On this stream, you can handle the truth. So,
yeah, it was very much just, do I think I can do this or not? Just go ahead and go. I think it was right after I did, if I'm not mistaken, it was right after I did Baron N. I think it was just proximity that drove me there more than anything.
Perfect. That proximity is a good reason to do things. What did you find? How did you find the flags? How did you find doing both a boss and a key item hunt at the same time?
I don't know. The flag set itself was mostly good. I think the thing that got me the most was just the shuffle shops was kind of interesting. That's a nice way to say it. That was the one thing that I think just burned me a couple times. I looked at a few things that I know I didn't need to, and then I regretted it right after. So I mean, if there's one thing that I could have back, it's probably that. But in terms of, the flag set itself, I think everything else was fine.
Fair enough. I definitely find shuffle shops to be a very interesting, and it's one of those flag sets that seems like it can really put a crimp in someone's style. So kudos to you for working through it and making that decision. We were talking all along. It's like, are these runners going to feel like they need to grind? And you made the correct call by saying, no, I'm good. I got everything I need. I have just enough. So that was really well done.
Yeah, I mean, throwing as much as I could so I intentionally kept the spoon for like the last thing I threw, just so I can like push it in the media phase. So I was like doing the math in my head, and I was like, well, I was trying to make sure that I tipped him at 45k, and then after that, it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to push damage pretty hard. I can't do like normal just for flex strats. Like I went into the seed thinking I'd have to do Foo and Friends, and then I started like the fight that way, where I started doing Star Veils, and that probably hurt me more than anything in the end. But I was just trying to like not screw up at that point. I'm honestly a little bit lucky that I didn't just completely like fall apart on that Z fight, but I think I had enough ammunition to throw, and I intentionally kept a few things to throw, just knowing that might be a possibility, and it ended up working out.
Completely honestly, I thought it was a really, really good Z fight and a really good example of how to fight Zeromus at those lower levels. So don't take anything negative out of that. You did a great job.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do okay sometimes. Not all the time, but okay.
Well, if someone was watching and they were watching you run, what lesson would you like them to take away from this run tonight?
I mean, I think the thing that's most important just on most fly sets and most of these races is making sure that you just find the power that you need to find. So like Cecil, obviously, like if you're gonna pull Cecil, like you have to go look for Crystal Sword. I think that's a non-negotiable in most of these fly sets, especially something like this where going to Evelyn, going to chase like monster in a boxes until you find Crystal Sword or at least a holy sword of some sort. I mean, I think that's the main thing in fly sets like this. Other than that, it's really just don't get in your own way. I think one thing that I fail at quite a bit is I get in the menu, I get into like looting a little bit too much. If I had to guess, that's probably where I lost time against all the other people in the race. Spent a little bit too much time looting, a little bit too much time looking for power. But with that being said, I think at my skill level right now, I was pretty happy with the result.
Well, good. It looked good to me anyway. You both did. So
absolutely. Anything else you want to add, Mike?
I think I'm pretty much. I've asked my question.
Thanks so much for joining us, Golden Shocker. Congratulations on the stream win. GG's.
Well done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you, and Happy New Year to everybody.
And to you.
All right, I think we are going to be joined by Drinks Glue in a second here. Hey, look at that. Hi, Drinks Glue. GG's.
Hello, thank you. GG's, my friend.
All right, so I want to ask you a couple of similar questions. What went into your decisions for party compositions? So this is Organ Mike's first time seeing a Sea Wishes seed, so I didn't tell him how it worked. I wanted to make sure that we got the authentic reaction live on stream and so we had a really nice chat about how choosing your characters is an important strategy piece, and it can help determine the rest of the seed. So what went into that decision for you?
Oh, it was take edge first for the early offense, find things to dart or find two-edge weapons. Cecil for later, not too much later, but pretty much immediately after Ordeals, Cecil will end up in line somewhere somehow. And then Rosa just for white maid support. And then the fourth spot's kind of like I was pondering a little bit, and I settled on Foo. It's some combination of like you need warp, I think, for the Dwarf Castle, definitely. So at least you like Witella, Foo, or Palom. Iridia, and Iridia is a much better anchor. So I went with the versatility and just went with Fu that time. See what happened, and I think it worked out okay.
Yeah, it was definitely a really strong time. There was a moment there where you had the choice to do either the Tower of Zot or Baron Castle. We knew watching one of those was the right choice, one of those wasn't. How did you make that decision? What was the priority that went through your head there?
Tower of Zot, it's long. It is what it is, but it does have 2 bosses. So it's just like, because there's no sirens in shops. I played one of these earlier and I realized that you kind of like just need to get your bosses and then figure it out the rest on the way. Just kill as many bosses as quick as you can, and good things will happen. I wasn't quite ready for the basement boss. I really didn't want to go down to Baron and do the basement and like get into trouble. So I kind of postponed Baron a little bit despite starting with it, and that was the reason we went with the Zot.
Really, really interesting choices there. What were you feeling when you were kind of getting to the end of the seed and you were pushing through a lot, and it felt like you were looking for bosses, but also kind of felt like you were looking for Darkness Crystal? Was there a thought in your mind of doing a grind, or was it what was the point you made the decision, nope, I'm just gonna go grab the pass and go see Zeromus?
I made a huge mistake at the end. I did a lot of unnecessary stuff. I could have probably made it finish 10-ish minutes earlier. I didn't realize I didn't need the Darkness Crystal because I had the pass, and I just needed bosses. So I was running around trading and stuff that I didn't need to do. I was going places that were on the longer side of things I didn't need to do, that was really just unnecessary. So I was trying to let's find the Darkness Crystal so we can beat the game. But then I kind of realized I was like, oh wait, I needed bosses, and I realized that when I was like halfway through Twin Harp. I was like, well, might as well finish this out, and that's when about the time people started getting done in the race room. I was like, oh, well, this confirms this was a massive mistake.
I mean, I think we've all made mistakes while running and forgotten we had a key item. I've definitely done it. Or worse, thought I had a key item and went to do something and went, oh no, I can't do this. The Zeromus fight itself, were you relatively comfortable with the levels going in? Did you feel it was going to be a bit of an edge case? Were you going to go for Fu and Friends? What was sort of your thoughts there?
No, the Crystal Sword Cecil, once he's like in the mid-30s, is more than enough to get through it, especially with 2 white mages. That was also like the whole reason I took Rosa and Fu, was just for their HP totals. Porm could probably learn some things earlier, I think, but Rosa's HP is pretty much on par with Edge's, so she's able to survive a nerf Big Bang if you mess it up. I think she does learn Cure 4 a little bit earlier. Plus, Fu sitting there with 2,000 HP and having Cure 4 on hand was also like part of the decision to take those 2 characters. Edge will get you started, Cecil will get you there, and then Rosa and Fusoya will help Cecil finish it.
Perfect. Mike, anything you want to add?
Oh, my usual question. So if someone was watching your stream, what lesson would you like them to take away from your run tonight?
Read the objectives, possibly read them 2 or 3 times, so that way you're pretty very much aware that the crystal unlocks when you get the 20th boss and not the Darkness Crystal.
That's good advice generally, I think.
All right. Well, I think that should take us to the end of the interview. Once again, Drinks Glue, GG's, congratulations on the run and getting it done. I thought it was a really good time. I think everyone had really good times tonight, so I don't think you have to take anything too negative out of that one.
No, I think I played very well. It's just, sometimes some things just slip your mind. But I really liked. There were some other things I could maybe nitpick. Like I really messed up the Dwarf Castle thing because I thought I know this is the gauntlet by doing Tower of Zot earlier. Let me put Fu in the middle so we can quake everything, and the agility was all thrown off because I was thinking Fu would be in the higher 30s for agility, and I threw the crystal on him just in case. But then I forgot he doesn't get agility because he's Fu. He's always at 20. But yeah, I really like get the crystal sword, get a good Cecil, and just put your head down and see what can happen.
Perfect.
Oh, thank you very much. It was a well-run race, and enjoyed watching it. So,
Yeah, thank you guys for doing commentary, and thank you everyone for participating tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for us. Mike, once again, thank you so much for doing this with me. It's always fun to commentate alongside you. I always enjoy it.
Well, thank you very
And-
much. Same to you.
Yeah, thanks to Beauty and Discovery for restreaming, Crispy Slick for tracking, first time tracker, and did a wonderful job.
Bang up, yeah.
To Golden Slick, Golden Shocker and Drinks Glue. Yeah, put the two together. Yeah, Golden
Yeah.
Shocker and Drinks Glue for agreeing to be on the restream tonight, and everyone else who ran. GG's to everyone. You want to take us home?
Sure. To everyone in the community, thank you for watching. And actually, I don't know. I should check and see if we're actually going somewhere else. Can you see if we're?
Yeah, we're gonna go raid. We're gonna go raid Inven.
Ah, excellent. So yes, we're going to go raid Inven. So hang around, and I'm sure that will be entertaining. And from all of us here to all of you, thank you for joining us, and have a great new year.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.